I have lived enough years now that I can freely testify to the fact that there have been times when God has had to deal with me in the realm of arrogance, being self-centered. Now you say, well, Pastor King, why are you confessing these things here on radio? I said, well, because I'm human and I have lots of flaws. And Jesus knows. He knows I have flaws. But yet, he still loves me. And he loves me so much, as the scripture says, him whom he loveth, he chastens and corrects. And I've had my share of correction. You see, the thing is that as God is in the process of molding and making us and preparing us for service here and service there. In other words, he's preparing us for heaven, but we have to learn how to serve. And Jesus demonstrated this so wonderfully there in the 22nd chapter of Luke, where the disciples were striving among each other. And they were questioning one another's ability to be faithful. And Jesus just stepped in and he began to talk to them about serving. And he said, talking about himself, he says, I've come to this world to serve my fellow man. He exemplified this to us there in the room where he was having the Passover with his disciples, when he took that towel and basin and he'd washed their feet. And he demonstrated to us about serving one another and loving one another and putting the things of God above ourselves. Well, when I follow through on this, and I talked about this on the broadcast yesterday, where Jesus said to Simon, he says, Satan wants to sift you like wheat. And he said, but I have prayed for you that thy faith fail not. Now, we read this and we say, well, Jesus prayed that Peter's faith wouldn't fail, and then he goes out and he denies the Lord there in the night of the trial, before the trial. But see, here's the thing. We found a scripture in the book of Mark in our studies at Freedom Road, the church that I pastor, that just fascinated all of us, because it's the last chapter of Mark when Mary Magdalene was there at the tomb and the other Marys. And it was said by the angels who were there, it says, go and get the disciples and Peter. And we just awed at that scripture, because in my interpretation, Jesus had not given up on Peter, because I believe that Peter had quit the ministry because of his failure. But in the eyes of Jesus, when this failure became so evident, the question still remained, Peter, have you lost your faith? This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.